Hello, sir. Gopal Krishna Hegde, sir.
Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Sir, I am Anupama from ENC Department, SJCE.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can.
Shall we
Can you
start
hear?
with the
Sure.
session, sir?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. The resource person for today's session is Dr. Gopal Krishna Hegde. Let me introduce him in brief. He has worked as associate professor in UK Open University, Singapore, research director at NPAEM Center of Innovation, Singapore, and visiting professor in FEMTOST Institute, University of France, University of California, and also in University of Australia. He has over 200 publications in international journals and conference proceedings and has granted 6 patents. His research interests are photonics, optical MEMS, nanophotonics, nanofabrication, optomicrofluidics, optical sensors, integrated optics, optical materials, optical flow diagnostics, and photonics education. Presently, he is working as senior research professor at IISc Bangalore at Sense Department. And today's topic is nanomaterials and nanophotonics for biomedical applications. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Good evening to you all. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Okay. How can I share my? Okay, 1 minute.
Sir, you are audible.
Okay. I will share my slide now.
Yes, sir.
Can you see now?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, can I make it full screen?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So I am in sitting in some remote location. Generally, internet is slow. Looks like. Okay. Nothing to worry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Good evening to you all. This is I don't know, it's a bit odd time maybe. I don't know where you people are sitting. Whatever it is, let us start. This is the title I gave. Looking at the FDP title, biomedical application, nanomaterials for real-time biomedical applications. So I put it as recent advances in biophotonics and nanomaterials for biomedical applications. So because when you talk about nanomaterials, it's a entirely different world. Okay, one is nano fabrication, another one is a nanomaterial. Then whenever you go with the nanomaterials, it is the photonics that plays a crucial role to record anything which comes out of from nanomaterials when you look into the biomedical applications. So with that intention, I put the title in general as biophotonics and nanomaterials for biomedical applications. So I'll give you a brief concept of what is biophotonics. Then I will take the nanomaterials, how a combined engineering or interdisciplinary engineering and science with biophotonics and biomaterials can lead to interesting applications, particularly in biomedical and biochemical applications. The biophotonics refers to the combination of biology and photonics, with photonics being the science and technology of generation manipulation, detection of photonics, that is the quantum of light. And photonics is a combination of photons and electronics in general, because both are required. Photons may control role in information technology such as fiber optics, the way electronics do in electronics. The same, these things. Biophotonics is nothing but the development and application of optical techniques, particularly in imaging and sensing, to the study of biological molecules, cells, tissues, and now you can extend it to medical as well. One of the main benefits of using optical techniques which make biophotonics is that they preserve the integrity of the biological cells being examined. That means that is all non-invasive. So lot of nanomaterials which are being used in biology or medicine application, they will go with photonics for either the detection or sensing or in any other format, like imaging or further processing, this kind of applications. Okay, so there should be a mode of analyzing the data when you get, but best way is to nanomaterials with biophotonics or the photonics. They will give an easy way to measure all these things, whatever is happening in biology or biomedical applications. So biophotonics deals with interaction between biological systems and photons. Okay, this refers to emission, detection, absorption, reflection, modification, creation of radiation from biomolecular cells, tissues, organisms, and biomaterials. So here the biomaterials comes because sometimes you cannot directly get the information from the cells or the tissues. You need to go with some materials that will respond to this one, so that from the optical techniques you can detect them. And biomaterials, when you talk about, it is nothing but this. Recently these are connected to nanomaterials because you have to go to the cells level. So best way is to get through nanomaterials. Okay, and this is how the in general applicate their definition. Now, why photonics? Because it is non-invasive and high resolution, then continuous and repetitive monitoring, and study and characterize the process of the disease in natural environment. Okay, no artifacts, more sensitive optical techniques. Okay, and accurate monitoring. So now real-time information is triage with therapy, accurate dosimetry, psychological impact, all will go to the go to this method once you go with the biophotonics. So this is the, when you talk about biophotonics, the wavelength range should be known. One is near infrared, then the visible. Okay, see, electromagnetic spectrum is big. I think you all know that. So what is the biophotonics applications and also the nanomaterial integration where they respond? That is in this region. Maybe this is for mainly communication and other applications. Infrared, visible, and UV. You don't worry about the deep UV and beyond that. Here also you don't go for very long wavelengths. So this is the region. Then cells and tissue basics, I don't go to the details of this because for using nanomaterials plus biophotonics, one must know the basics of biology. Cell is a basic structural, functional, biological unit, all known living organisms. Cell is a smallest unit of life that can replicate independently, and cells are often called building blocks of life. Is very much similar to atoms in materials, okay, or nanomaterials. So cell basics, major cellular components, origins of intrinsic cellular optical signals. So here the cells or any biological material will respond to some light, no doubt about it. So again, there are various issues in between, or one has to resolve many biological processes when the light falls on it through different methods, different approaches. In that situation, you need to go with a compatible biomaterial that may be structured in nanoscale. Okay, this is the cells basics, tissue basics. In biology, tissue is the cellular organizational level intermediate between cells and complete organ. Tissue is the is an ensemble of similar cells from the same origin that together carry out specific functions. Now, what are the things you need to know about is what photonics and photonics can do in biologies, in medical fields, and the role of nanomaterials. This is where you can use the nanomaterials. So with this photonics background, say, you can get, no doubt, this imaging is there for a long time, no doubt. Imaging, detection, okay, you can see it, then you can detect it, then track it, you can monitor, you can give the treatment by nanomaterials. You all know some of these things. Then therapy, that also through nanomaterials. Now, when you use this nanomaterial for treatment and therapy, that also you can either image or you can track it, you can detect it and monitor it. So this is how a nanomaterial is integrated with biophotonics such that a useful information can be taken off. That is because it's very sensitive technique and also it's a non-invasive technique. Okay, and you can get a very high resolution information. Okay, then surgery, that's also involved. Then no doubt in biology, it's optics photonics goes with microscopy and imaging, spectroscopic methods, optical sensing, excitation and emission, then nanobiophotonics. So when I talk about nanobiophotonics, the biophotonics and nano, there is a combined science. When I talk about nano, it is nanomaterials because biophotonics will go with the nanomaterials. Then light interactions, that is treatment and surgery, a compatible biomaterial. This is what I mentioned, compatible biomaterial, that should be selected. And I don't go to the details of these basics which you all know. This microscopy and imaging and optical microscope that has been there for ages now. We are all used to it now. Bright field microscopy, dark field viewing, and in all these things, the important thing is resolution. When we talk about resolution, we always go to now either SCM or TEM. They are also microscopy techniques only, but optical microscope, normal optical microscope has a limitation because when you focus the light at micron scale itself, you see the diffraction because you cannot image anything when you reach the diffraction limit of the optical components. So this is a simple equation. Now the issue is with the limitation of optical components in normal microscope. That's why the maximum resolution you can get with this one is numerical aperture and the lambda. The numerical aperture is what is the area of the lens you take in a microscope. The second one is factor affecting the resolution. See, these are the things, lambda is larger, lambda is smaller, resolution was, but there is a limit. Again, you cannot use deep UV and all. Or with the n, it goes up, the refractive index. Alpha, it comes down. That is, alpha is nothing but a numerical aperture. And the wavelengths are all the limitations are given. Now, magnification, that also has the limitation with normal or optical microscope. And now we always go for SEM or TEM because of these limitations. And the biological microscopes also, they are specifically designed for biological samples. Are you okay? Can you hear me? Because I cannot see your response. Hope you're all there. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay. Then, so these are simple formulas available. Depth of focus, that also has a limitation. And these are the polarized microscope. See, these are all the optical microscope that work in the resolution of 10x, 100x, okay, 200x, not beyond that. Then we'll go to SCMs or TMs. There I think you might have used all these microscopy techniques of SCM, TM. You know how the sample has to be prepared. How again, you can go with nanomaterials again there. I'll come to that point. In confocal microscopy, these are all recent techniques and a lot of improved methodologies are suggested. And these are all fluorescence images of many of the biological samples. And the first principle of biology of seeing anything is a fluorescence microscope. They use left and right fluorescence microscope. Then these are the recent techniques of 2-photon multiphoton microscopy. And the resolution which you get an SEM scanning electron microscope is 50,000, 10,000 into. So the same resolution now recent technologies are coming. There's a single photon, 2-photon, multiphoton microscopy. These microscopes, same simple optical microscope only, they have improved the optical components. Also, they have improved the measuring techniques so that you can get the similar resolution as of SCMs that is there. So this, I'm not going to the details. Okay, this is the Jablonski energy diagram, 1 photon, 2 photon, and this is how the focal point. This is a few hundreds of nanometers. We can get a better resolution. Okay, so I think on the right side it is given a confocal 1 photon, confocal 2 photons. So you can see the focal points here. You can confine the light to this level. Now you see what I'm going to talk about is how you can use the nanomaterials to focus the light to this scale so that you can get the similar resolution. Okay, so I don't go to the details of this again. 2-photon microscopy images of in vivo brain function. See, this is the level of technology coming now, and I think most of these things are done in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, US. That's a huge group. Then these are the live processes, biological processes recorded live with the 2-photon microscope. Okay, so I'm not going to the details, and this is how the computational techniques. Okay, how you can see the 3D images of this thing, which is now almost reaching the level of SCM and TM. So multiphoton microscopy, and you can do a lot of imaging. Okay, varieties. Okay, from cells to tissues, from tissues to animals, from organelles to cells. Okay, the resolution I'm talking about 80 nanometer. Okay, it is coming almost near to that. Okay, in vivo, in vitro, they both can be done. Optical imaging of cell matrix, everything is possible with single photon. Now spectroscopic methods also, I don't go to the details. You know how the endoscope and they work. These are the 5 optical fiber: absorption, scattering, fluorescence, and these are the things how the light goes inside. You can track and how light comes out and is collected in the fiber. These are all there. Now you can improve all these optical techniques if you inject nanomaterials into the cells or the cell structure, not inside. If it goes mixes with the biological systems, you can now one can introduce some nanomaterial into blood, this nerve system. Then you can track the movement of this nanoparticle from outside and control them with magnetic system. These are all the technique currently going on, and this is again spectroscopic method. All you can track with endoscope inside, and this is again a laser based technique. Why I'm talking about these things is because now LASIK surgery, these are all being done. You all know these things because using nanomaterial, some of these can be controlled easily. You can use it without nanomaterials, with nanomaterials. Okay, this is again LASIK surgery. Forget all these things. Now the current state of the art. And digital holographic microscopy, again this also 3D system, and I'm just slightly moving away now. You can image these things with the digital holographic microscopy. Again, there is a limit. You cannot go beyond 10 microns resolution. Now the same thing you can do with incorporating nanomaterials, the cell structure and image in a slightly different way. So this nanomaterial will respond to the light. Then you can enhance the light coming out of the cells or the this is where the topic of the FDP coming. Nanophotonics, nano optics is a study of the behavior of light at the nanometer scale materials. On nanometer scale materials and the interaction of nanometer scale objects with the light. This is a different area because we all know how the light interacts with the bulk material, how light interacts with the microscopic and micron scale material, how light interacts with nanoscale material. So it's a branch of optics, optical engineering, electrical engineering, and nanotechnology. So this is the advantage. Okay, it is a more of interdisciplinary. Optics, optical engineering, electrical engineering, nanotech. I don't say others are not. Many other areas. People can come out with different ideas once the people with different background get together. It often involves metallic components, okay, metal nanoparticles, which can transport and focus light via surface plasmon polariton. Okay, see the term nano-optics, just like term optics, usually concerns ultraviolet, visible and near infrared light, free space wavelength around 300 to 1500 nanometer. So the nanomaterial scale, when interact with the light, the response which you can record or image or whatever it is, they normally fall in the wavelength range of 300 to 1500 nanometer. So this is how surface plasmon polariton works. You see it's a metal and a dielectric surface, and there is an interface between these two. When light falls on this surface, there is the transverse electromagnetic wave coupled to a plasmon. That means wave of charges on the metal dielectric interface. This is called surface plasmon polariton. So this is a nanostructure. When the light falls on it, see, I just mentioned the interaction of light with a nanoscale material is different from the normal bulk material interaction. So this light and the nanoscale, it will form a charge cloud of positive charges and negative charges. This creates a field that is called the plasmon polariton surface. That's a field. It's a concept. Okay, recording a plasmon, detecting plasmon is very sensitive. Nowadays techniques are available to do that. The wave has to have the component of E transverse to the surface. Okay, it should be polarized. These are optical limitation. Okay, so polariton, any coupled oscillation of photons and dipoles in a medium. Now you can see there are plus and minus as shown here. These are the dipoles. They form the quanta of energy that's called a plasmon. Now this is in general, you can see dielectric and metal surface. Same thing, I put it in a structural form, metal and a dielectric. Then okay, this is a you can see how the plasmons oscillate on the surface. This is a very basic principle of using nanomaterial and the photonics for biomedical application, varieties of applications. This has been there for last 10-15 years, and many research no doubt research papers are coming, and many techniques are going into practical deployment, either in hospitals or in biological and biochemical laboratories. So this is the same thing which I mentioned, how the circular plasmas oscillate, some of the mathematics and computations that also been being done and already proposed. So this is the same thing which I showed you, the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, a plasmon resonance frequency strongly depends on the geometry of the structure. I showed a planar structure. And these are the resonant wavelengths, plasmon energy content, and the bottom is the resonant wavelength. This is the wavelength, there are plasmon wavelengths. Okay, so here, as I mentioned, for a plasmonic, you need to have a metal and a dielectric surface. One is metal is no doubt silver. This technique and technology has been there for last 20 years. Silver nanoparticles, gold nanoparticles, okay, and okay, gold and silver nanoshells, okay, nano rods, okay. So these are all metal nanostructures, and also you can have okay, alloyed spheres, shells, varieties of structures you can make. Same time, you can make the dielectric of silicon oxide, silicon nitride. So these are all the dielectric you can make in nano scale structures. And again, this is where communication window you all know, but sub-wavelength scale, nanoscale for visible near infrared light for the plasmonics. Okay, here there's one question. So sometimes you feel it violates fundamental laws of diffraction, but that is not true. See, because you are going below too much, maybe wavelengths are in hundreds of nanometers, because visible to, you can say 700 nanometer, but your nano materials or nanostructures will be of 10 nanometer, 20 nanometer. So you may feel that there is a lot of an order of difference, but still there is a diffraction. Okay, so why is the nanoparticle? Okay, normal optical components like lenses and microscope generally cannot normally focus light into a nanometer scale, because there is a diffraction limit, because the diffraction controls. Nevertheless, it is possible to squeeze light into nanometer scale using other techniques like surface plasmas. Okay, localized surface plasma, nanoscale strip tips. So this was another NSOM, okay, microscopy, near field scanning, optical microscopy. This works under the principle of plasmonics. So now here the trick is you have just understood what I'm talking now. Nanoscale materials. Okay, there's a nano material. So the light interaction will lead to beat the optical limit, general optical limits of can focus below nanometer scale. That means sub nanometer also you can. So and varieties of applications. We are not worried about other things. Only some biomedical imaging. Okay, I have marked it here. This is medical image, light activated medical therapies. Okay, and this is the sensors, and these are other application, data storage and displays also. And again, this microscopy with medical therapies. All these applications have been defined. There's a lot of overlapping of different areas. Is nano, photonics, plasmonics. Okay, this is the area now. You see here a conceptual view of nanophotonics and nanomaterials. Okay, say nanoscale optical science and technology. First is nanoscale confinement of the radiation, nanoscale confinement of the matter, the material, nanoscale photoprocesses. See, these are the three areas which make the nanomaterials critical for biomedical applications. Okay, now this the shape of the nanoparticle excitation and scattering spectra, and in particular the peak wavelength lambda, depends on nanoparticle composition, size, shape, orientation, and local dielectric environment. So this I have taken from some Nature Materials paper where they talked about nano materials for medical applications, biomedical applications. See, you can look at this, the shape of the nanostructure. It may be a pyramid structure, it may be a spherical structure, and the height is given, and the diameter is given, width is given. Okay, and the peak wavelengths. And you can see it's a purely a size dependent, the structural dimensional dependent of the peak of the plasmonic wavelength. You can see these things. Okay, so the effect of size and shape of localized plasmon resonance excitation spectrum for silver nano prisms, nano discs, nanosphere. See, these are all nano materials typically used in biology applications. Okay, so this is how the this is a nano shell structure. You might have heard about this one. Control of surface plasmon resonance wavelength over a broad range. This you can see. This is a 60 nanometer core radius. Okay, 20 nanometer shell. Okay, this is the structure. You see here 60 nanometer core. Okay, radius 5 nanometer shell. This is the radius. Here the radius is about 20 nanometer. This is the gold nanoparticle. Gold nanoparticle with the dielectric inside. That means the dielectric is coated with silver. And this method is not coated, means it is used by some chemical synthesis to generate this gold nanoparticles. I think you might have read these things in the literature as well. And this is how, depending on this core shell, and the thickness of the shell, diameter of the core, the plasmonic wavelength shift you can see. Okay, excitation, absorption units. So peaks this shift here, and this is how the biomaterials are being used. Again, this is a Scientific American 2000. See, I'm taking 2007 paper, but see, plasmonic therapy for cancer. Now the cancer cells are being killed using this technique. This is the gold nanoparticle with the silica inside. These are injected inside the body, and this are taken to the desired location by some optical techniques or some other external control techniques. They reach the desired location. From outside you put the light, there will be a plasmonic interaction between these two. This resonance wavelength will destroy the cancer cell. That therapy is being done. I heard. I don't know how it is successful. Similarly, this is something which we did some time back. We made some polymer nanograting. Why, I will tell you later. These grating structures, again, this is a biocompatible polymer material. There's a PMMA, and we made this structure using E-beam lithography. These grating periods are about 50 nanometer, and the pitch about the line width here. This is about 10 nanometer. Okay, so this is the structure. One is a 60 nanometer PMMA on silicon. This is 60 nanometer PMMA on 50 nanometer gold on silicon. So these two structures we fabricated and we studied their optical properties. And the second one was not another. If you take the resolution, the periodic gradings. So the structures are not very good in terms of biological application. The left one looks okay, uniform exposure for a wide area, and you can get a very good grating structure, and you have seen the diffraction as well. And this is how somewhere we published. And so this is all the characterization techniques. Why we did it? This is not our cells. When you have a biological cells, they normally fold. Suppose if you want to see a cell in a planar structure, it is very difficult. But if you make nano structures with the biocompatible material, then if you put the cells on this structure, the cells will follow the nanostructures. Now you see, this is the figure. Cell nanograting response in epithelial cells. Epithelial cells respond to nanograting through alignment and elongation to the grating axis, as evident through the fluorescent and SEM microscopes. You can see how the cell is in the grating structure. It is, it aligns with that. See, otherwise, it's very difficult to handle a single cell. That's why optical tweezers are used to make the cells planar, then take the image. But if you put these nanomaterials, creating some nanostructures, it may be periodic gratings, or it may be even periodic pyramids or anything, the cell will follow those structures, then you can do the next process. Now here you say schematic is a nano grating, nano post, okay, nano pit, and all are fabricated here. Again, this is again nano lithography, nano geometries are created using e-beam lithography, and they can be used for cell analysis, tissue analysis, and putting these materials on this one, they'll follow certain structural geometries. Then you can do other imaging and whatever the sensing technique, you can use it. Now similarly, metal enhancer fluorescence on silver nano triangles for bioimaging. This again a nanomaterial, and the one which I showed in the previous case, which was done through e-beam lithography, that is a very expensive technique, and making large area is also a bit difficult. So this is another technique. These nanostructures are created about this is called nanosphere lithography. Polystyrene nanospheres are used to create monolayer nanostructures, and this is a technique we showed as spin coating. This is a purely a non-clean room based technique. You don't need a very higher end clean room. The previous one was very expensive techniques, and you can create these structures like this, putting rotating it over this one. So some old work, maybe 2012, one of our students has done this. Now you do this one, you can create, these are the nano spheres. You do a spin coating technique and releasing other unwanted things, again putting, it's like say bottom up approach nano fabrication, and you can see the silver nano triangles here. It is shown here 1, 2, 3. These nano triangles you can create, and this you can see how it is done after a AFM image. And this nano triangle has around 265 nanometer height and 300 nanometer base. This is a nano triangle. So I think we did this work in Singapore Bioimaging Consortium. Then roughness also it is given, thickness, everything we have done. Then what we did is, this is the substrate, okay, and this is a broadband light source fiber, the spectrometer, and this the reflection spectrum of a biosample. You put, see, the first step in any biological characterization is a fluorescence. Many of the biological samples fluoresce, but the fluorescence intensity is very low. So to enhance the fluorescence, we tried these techniques. Okay, this is how it is done. We just recorded the absorption spectra of this one. This is the substrate. You put the sample, you put broadband light dose, excite, and you can see this is the normal absorption spectrum. Then and this is how metal enhanced fluorescence. You can see here. We put the sample without nano triangles. General normal, you put the sample on the substrate and measure the fluorescence, and you put the sample on a nano triangle structured substrate, and the substrate which has a nanostructures fabricated on it. Then we have seen a enhancement in fluorescence of that material. Okay, you got about 30% or 40% enhancement in the fluorescence. Okay, without and with nanostructures. that is the one, I think, in Singapore, I think medical, they grabbed these techniques for fluorescence enhancement. We couldn't patent it, but it worked very well for them. Now, again, the one which I showed in the earlier stage of the biochip for multiplex surface resonance detection. So these are all available in market. These are just the chips, okay, which I mentioned earlier. They have already made a chip of this type where they have made a nanostructures using biocompatible materials. Okay, nanoparticle layer formed area. You put your sample, shine the light, then you record whatever you want, and you compare without this nanostructure, nanomaterial. So there is definitely, okay, I think they have put a very good chart of the samples. Okay, you can see in the same chip you can have an array of nanostructure materials with the different dimensions. Okay, okay, maybe 10 nanometer, 20 nanometer, 15. Each of these structures will respond to different biological processes. Okay, so I think I have shown somewhere in the previous slide where the plasmonic wavelength shifts with size of the nanomaterials. So this is how the nanostructure and the nanomaterials are being exploited for biological applications. Okay, this is one of the bio chip. Again, this is a nature work. And again, propagation of the surface plasma along 40 nanometer thick 25 micron edge gold stripe image res. Okay, varieties of things which I showed you, only pyramids, triangles, dips, and varieties of structures. Nanostructures can be made with biocompatible materials, and you can show various applications. So again, this is a nanostructure. It's again on optical techniques, integrated optics. Okay, elements of integrated photonic chips based on surface plasmon resonance for real-time monitoring. This again, the one which you are looking at. These are the chips. Some of these chips are reusable. Some of the chips are use and throw. So these are different types of waveguide structures fabricated on silicon. Again, these waveguides are either a polymer or any other biocompatible material. You put the biosamples on it, shine the light from one end. Again, this is Alexander interferometer. You see on the black spot at the end of this chip, they are all light spots. Your biological samples can be put on these things. You can do this. Okay. Now again, the basics, the principles which I mentioned to you, plasmon waveguides made from chains of nanoparticles. So you see with the dimensions how these the interactions and the plasmonic wavelengths. Okay, 1 micrometer, 1 micrometer, 1 micrometer. But this is the chip side. This is the resolution on the SEM, and these are the sizes of the nanostructure, the nano devices. Okay, again, biophotonic material is bacterial rhodopsin. The long back we used to work, and you see again this is an interesting biomaterial, but this has many limitations. Okay, that's why the technology, even though science has been there, technology couldn't develop. So I don't talk much on this one. Okay, the interesting material, this is called bacterial rhodopsin. You shine light. Okay, it goes an optical cycle. Okay, and different transformations, and mostly it was, even though it's a biomaterial, it was not used much in biology, mostly for optical memory and other things. So this is how the bacterial rhodopsin structure is shown, how it responds to light, but I don't consider this one. Okay, these are the sample for bacterial rhodopsin with the different sizes or different. D96N, this is for optical application. This D85, and this is for some biological applications. Again, this is not taking off for any technological advance or the research. Now, these are varieties of application with bacterial rhodopsin. But again, for the nano fabrication, nano material preparation, it didn't work well. Okay, mainly it is a bio sensor applications it was used, and in biology, other places, okay, in biology it is not. Okay, desalination of seawater, there's something you can say. Otherwise, all this biological material is used in electronics and optical applications. Now, this is a bacterial rhodopsin work, but don't worry about that. This is actually an optical memory. It was done using bacterial rhodopsin, but this also failed because thumb drives have come, so this CD has gone and this BR is dead. That way, it's not used. Okay, this is something switch. This you can see, optical switch. You can guide the light. You put the bacterial rhodopsin on the waveguide branches, it can turn the light. Okay, that's how. But biology it didn't work well, and other things forget. Now, so nanotechnology based in vitro diagnostics. So I mentioned in the beginning itself. So nanomaterials with photonics are used for in imaging, sensing, therapy, and these kind of things. Okay, then okay, you can see where it is used: heart infections, malaria, meningitis, influenza, tuberculosis, HIV, HP. Okay, these are some of the things. I don't limit these applications to this. It is beyond that. Okay, quantum dot nanoprobes for protein detection using microscope structure, flow cytometry, all are working. Okay, then in vivo diagnostics of nano platforms, medical imaging, then GD dope nano phosphor. Lecture related. So for MRI scanning, okay, gold doped nanophosphor in vivo diagnostics, multimodal multimodal nano platforms for medical imaging. Okay, optical again, gold doped nano phosphor. We can image and enhance these things. Then see, this is a SPECT CT scan. Though these are the nanomaterials for a real-time monitoring of all these biological processes, all the detection. This is the hot area in terms of research, and interestingly, many of these techniques are deployed into real application. They are all working now. So this is one way. Okay, again, nano letter. This appeared in 2008, and cancer nanotechnology. Okay, targeted delivery. One of this I have shown in one of the slides, and controlled release, multimodal therapy, and real-time monitoring. This is what this FDP is targeted, and it is beyond that. And the important thing these days, which is coming up, is earlier people thought that biological processes cannot be simulated. Now it is a very open technique where all processes can be predicted because you through bio computation techniques, and also image processing. Very advanced image processing techniques are available now. I think we are into AI, ML, and all these advanced techniques like artificial intelligence and machine learning, data, all will add to this one to enhance the application of these nanomaterials plus optical techniques into biological applications. Okay, magnetic therapy, which I mentioned, you make a nano material with magnetic materials, nanostructures, magnetic materials. You can do with magnetic therapy. You can control the nanomaterials or nanospheres inside the cell or inside the body using the magnetic field from outside. Okay, these are all patented technique now. Okay, chemotherapy, I think pancreatic prostate cancer with Anirban Mitra, MD, Johns Hopkins University, they have already done this technique. Then gene therapy, okay, this is the group that also they have gold nanorod, okay, this is a quantum dot, all nanostructured materials. Then again, photodynamic therapy, cervical and skin cancer techniques, and okay, this again, they're all patented techniques published now. Okay, neutron capture therapy. For all these things, one has to make nanostructure. Okay, in most of the cases, the gold nanoparticle sitting everywhere. Okay, quantum dots and other things, and okay, gene therapy using hormonal and GNR nanoparticles. Okay, see from Huntington's disease, lung injury, drug addiction, then okay, chronic pain, infectious disease, obesity, okay, asthma, stroke, okay. See, for everything, gene silencing of enzymes causing lung remodeling. This is how it is done. Okay, so everywhere you see gold GNR nanoparticle. So these are the materials mainly for any nano structure which is to be used in bio application. That has to be with a plasmonic based nanostructure, which has to respond to light. A combination of these two will help for real monitoring of whatever the target we have. We can do that. That's the whole idea of this nanostructures with photonics. And gene delivery using nanoparticles, it is already there. Electrostatic gene condensation, efficient cellular entry, non-toxicity, high gene expression, silence, all this. Now you see how it is done using plasmonic technique. When you want to do a plasmonic technique, you have to go with a nanoparticle with a metal and a dielectric surface. Okay, then okay, gene augmentation, CFTR gene in cystic fibrosis. See how it is done. You see nucleus, your okay, nanoparticle is here. Okay, nanoplex you put in there. This is a protein, and I really don't understand of these bio processes, but how it is recorded using these techniques you can understand a little bit. Okay, no. Again, gene sign, some examples are given. Okay, and you can see how it responds. A protein here, the color is changed. See, all this is all real-time monitoring techniques only. Okay, then okay, don't worry about this nanotechnology for communication, processing, storage, and displays. See, what I'm telling here is this one, and with this communication, storage, and processing, this is again a very important thing in biology. Many times you need not have to go to the hospitals and the doctors. They have some techniques. You can see this imaging sitting somewhere else. Okay, that's all. The telemedicine, teletreatment. These are the latest techniques. Once you go to the doctor, get diagnosed, treatment, you can sit elsewhere and do. And everywhere this nanotechnology plus nanomaterials plus photonics. Because why I'm telling photonics is required to transmit all these things. Okay, now you see optically switchable photonic crystals. I didn't talk much on these photonic crystals. Okay, that is a very important area in nano materials. Okay, you make photonic crystal-based structure, lot of detection sensors you can do using photonic crystals. Okay, for environment applications also sense this one. When you go to environment, you can see many of the plants, this natural bioprocesses that also can be detected using this one. Okay, so nanomaterials and nanotechnology in chemical bio defense. Now, it is a very wide area in terms of research. Okay, rapid in-field and remote detection, nanostructured sensor platform, rapid dissemination of information, nanostructure capture and detoxification platform, nanomedicine based rapid medical response. So for every of these things, what we need is a nanostructure which can respond to light. Once it is responding to light, all can be done. Okay, sensor, okay, remote detection, decimation by controlling the light. Again, nanomedicine based rapid medical response. Okay, this okay, capture. See, capture means data capture means again optical technique only. So these are the latest stage developments for application of nanomaterials in real-time monitoring. Okay, nano technology plus nanomaterial plus photonics, a new multidisciplinary scientific research frontier ripe for technological innovation and commercial opportunities. Okay, destined to create immense societal impact. And you read all these things, nanophotonics, biophotonics. Okay, Paras and Prasa, some of these books are very informative. And with this, I will summarize what I have talked to you, an overview of photonics applications and opportunities in biology, medical fields is given. Nanomaterials and photonics are the best bet to understand and address many of biological and medical problems due to high sensitivity and non-invasive approach. There will be many opportunities for researchers and industries to explore the application of optics, photonics, and nanomaterials for biology, medical, and agriculture related areas. Nanomaterials and new photonics based techniques are highly in demand to address many biomedical related problem. There are a lot of opportunities for researchers in biomedical industries to explore new nanomaterials and use nanophotonics techniques. This is what I wanted to talk to you. And okay, I thank you, and let us have some discussions now. I hope you are all there, and I assume that you are all there. Oh, hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you for listening to me. Now you can have no question. 1 minute. Hello.
Hello, any questions from the participant side?
No, ma'am.
Any question, please?
Sir, thank you very much for your presentation. I have one query for that from your presentation. So you have talked about nanophotonics and nanomaterials. Does it lead to something quantum technology, or what? It is different from that?
The quantum technology is different. When you go to quantum, we'll be talking only about the photonic and photon entanglement, photon spin. Okay. So
yes.
At the current state of the art, the quantum technology is only limited to quantum communication, quantum computation, and other not yet up to quantum medicine. It is not yet gone to that level. Computation and this one and one more. Another thing, other areas is not entered yet.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, any other question?
Hello.
Yes.
Hanji, Dr. Saab, this was a very informative session. Sir, I have a question that what are the most effective fabrication techniques for ensuring uniformity and scalability in advanced nanomaterials for biomedical application?
Biomedical, okay. Fabrication wise, the top-down approach where you see E-beam lithography or even high resolution optical lithography, because interference lithography, you will get a very uniform structure, no doubt about it. Again, the limitation comes, they are definitely very expensive and you can make, but if you go to E-beam lithography, the area is, it is like too much time consuming. You can really make 5 nanometer structures, but whether it is really needed for biological applications is not required, because normally the cells and the tissue, they will be falling somewhere in 5 to 10 microns dimensions. And other nanostructures, when you make it, this is one way, and other the top-down, bottom-up approaches, the chemical techniques, they also give enough uniformity as far as this this structure is concerned. Like electronics, you need more uniformity. For biological applications, I think you can compromise with slight variations. Okay.
Okay. Sir, what about CVD or Sol-Gel? Are these techniques useful in this case?
Sol-Gel is better. CVD, again, it's a higher end technique and the longer technique, that is. But Sol-Gel is very handy and you can use it in simple chemical laboratories. But again, CVD, you can have a very high vacuum and mainly electronics and like making memory chips and these kind of things. That is required. For biological, Sol-Gel is okay.
Okay, sir. I have, sir, a second question. Can I ask, sir?
Sure, no problem.
That's regarding biocompatibility or toxicity of nanomaterials when we are using in real-time biomedical applications. So how these things are overcome? Like, are there some techniques of some coating, etc.? Polymers?
It goes with the selection of the material. It goes with the type of application. For, if you say for a detection, for a sensing, maybe you can use simple biocompatible material. They are normally polymers and these kind of things. Like in metal-wise, gold, silver, they don't create any problems. For a therapy and other kinds of treatment, you have to look into the biostability of the material. That is very important, because it may react or it may cause other tissue related. Hello. One nimisha, like talk a little. So that is possible. Okay. So the selection of the material depends on what kind of application you are looking at. In vitro, in vivo, or external, outside treatment, imaging, sensing. It depends on what kind of approach you are doing. Then you select the materials. Okay, the degradation is very important. If you are suppose leaving it inside the body, and also many other side effects will be there. So, and you say how you can remove it after targeted application, whether you can remove it. And that way you can design it. You can select the material.
Great, sir. Great, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Sir, in thermotics, are there some researches going on related to nanomaterials regarding targeted drug delivery, etc.?
Yes, that is being done. That is being done. Very well done, because that's the problem. Earlier you give a drug and it will take its own time to go and react, and response of the effect of the drug to the targeted disease. That takes some time, but this targeted drug delivery in terms of cancer, that is very essential. I think that is being done now. That is being done using nano. And this
And
magnetic
I think
materials, nano.
this method may be improved precision also, I guess.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Very precisely, without any side effect. 100% targeted resolution of few nanometers or few microns. They will deliver. You can deliver that, because it is a real time monitoring can be done. So
yes,
this
yes,
is very.
yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Gopal sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other question?
Sir, pranam, sir. Sir, it's my general question, sir. If we go below the nano size material, sir, nano size dimension, is there any changes in the properties, and that will be used for the applications more than? Is it possible? I am asking, sir.
Again, sir, can you repeat the question? Can you repeat
Sir,
the question?
If we go below the nanoscale dimension of a particle, is any changes in the properties of the materials, and if that will be used more than nanoscale materials, sir? My question, that is a doubt for me.
No. See, there is for all these things, there is always a limitation. Now, what the minimum level of nanostructure you can make is around 5 nanometer. Okay, the 5 nanometer. Okay, it is even I cannot say it is 100% reproducible. Okay, the percentage of the 5 nanometer structures you can make, maybe reproducibility is maybe 50% or 30%, and also large area may be difficult, that uniformity. So that's a limit for that one. Again, okay, now well-established nanostructures you can regularly make using e-beam lithography. Is a planar structure, is a top-down approach, that is around 10 nanometer. Okay, with the 10 nanometer and even with 5 nanometer gate structures in electronics, microelectronics, people have proved, and some companies like Texas Instruments, they all claim that they have 5 nanometer technology. That is that. Okay, sir. Okay, that is possible. I don't say. Below that also you can do. Again, even pico technology, people are talking about it, but how?
Yes,
okay, nano to pico, some people are working on that making, but whether it is really necessary for electronics they can make, but for everything there is a limitation. Now, if the quantum can take over the normal electronics processes like quantum technology, quantum computation, then you need not have to go for pico, because ultimate is a photon. Photon dimension is still smaller than it, isn't it? Photon has no dimension, has no mass, no charge. But still, in quantum computing and all, they use that photons.
Okay.
So,
okay, sir.
You can limit to yourself targeting the application. You cannot keep on making some nanostructure still below. But what is the use of it? Taking so much of trouble.
Okay.
That is
okay.
Always a question.
Okay, sir. There won't be any changes in the properties, because from the atomic scale we are going to.
When we hit we know the atom properties, and and if you go below that one, what will you get? You get ultimate target is a monolayer atoms. You put everything and exploit it. And what will be the atomic processor that time happening? That research is going on. There will be a way. Some researcher will come out with a solution for that. Okay, there will be property changes. Single atom interactions is well understood now.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more question? Hello?
I guess no more questions, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for the informative session, sir. You told us about the biomedical photonics, like what optic photonics can do in biology and medical fields. Thank you for the information, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good response. 167. Okay. Thank you all.
Oh,
Good night.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gopal sir.
Thank you,
Next
sir.
session will start after 10 minutes, 7:30. Today's session, the resource person for today's session is Dr. Raghavendra CR. Let me introduce him in brief. Dr. Raghavendra CR obtained his MTech from VTU Belgavi in 2009, PhD from the Mechanical Engineering Department in the field of nanomaterials at VTU in 2019. During 2015 to 2019, he worked on nanomaterials and coatings to carry out the research project. He is currently working as professor at Government Engineering College, Haveri, Karnataka. Interested areas are nanomaterials, MEMS, material characterization. He has published over 50 publications in reputed journals, both in international and conference proceedings, and had granted few patents too. His research interests are nanomaterials, MEMS, material characterization. And his today's topic is Introduction to Nanoparticle Coating, Biomedical Applications and Functional Properties. We welcome you, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. One second.
Okay, over to you, sir.
share my
You can start the session.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Once again. Is the slides visible, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, once again, madam. Once again. Oh, okay, fine. Slides are visible and I am audible, right, madam? Shall I continue?
You're audible, sir, but your slides are not visible. The presentation is not visible.
So. One second. I shared it. No?
Okay.
One second. I just shall.
Slides are visible, sir.
Slides are visible, right?
It was visible. Now it got disconnected.
Yes, yes, madam. Yes, yes, sir. Actually, madam told it is not visible, so I just went back once again. Now is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible,
Okay,
sir.
fine,
Now
fine.
it is in presentation mode.
Yes, madam. And the slides are visible, right?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Fine, madam. Thank you. By the way, I did my master's in UEC, madam, in thermal science and engineering, and post-graduation diploma in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Fine. That is not important, actually. So fine. Let me continue. Today, we are just discussing about some nanoparticle coatings, which is now that it is the newest method of enhancing the functional properties and the biomedical in the biomedical applications as well as in the automobile and aerospace applications. And we will also be discussing about the functional properties of these nanoparticle coatings. Now, first and foremost things, before I just continue into the actual presentation, let me speak 1 minute about the college, which is giving me bread and butter as of today. So I'm just working as a training and placement officer and as an assistant professor in the mechanical engineering department from Government Engineering College, Haveri, Devagiri, which has 4 branches. And we also have a research centers in mechanical, civil, and electronics and communication centers. I just to finish off my customary thing, let me switch into the contents. I'll be talking about the nanoparticles, how these nanoparticles are entirely different from the microparticles, how these are playing a vital role in enhancing the functionalities of any of the substrates, irrespective of the substrates, how they are playing an instrumental role in enhancing those properties. And then I'll be talking about the coatings, in particularly nano coatings, where we will be discussing about the primary and the secondary phase particles coatings. Then the fabrication of nanocomposite coatings, how these nanocomposite coatings have been fabricated using different techniques based on the applications and based on the primary and secondary particles, based on the area of the applications where we are going to use the substrate materials, we are going to use the fabrication method of the nanocomposite coatings. Then how these are all been characterized, the nano coatings. I'll be discussing about that. Then we will be discussing about the mechanical properties, and then the tribological properties, where we will be discussing about the wear and different types of wear, and even the frictional properties of the coatings. So let me speak in if this biomedical instrumentations, we know that different devices and instrumentations used in healthcare to diagnose or treat or prevent the disease, monitor and conduct research. They are all crucial to the medical field and have made the patient's care much easier. Nowadays, especially in particularly this orthopedic fields and even in the surgery department, these instruments are the materials are going to be a lifetime the beneficiary for the patients. So few of them being an implantable devices and biopotential electrodes and even the dental applications and many more are there. And even the, to be honestly, the titanium is one of the most used material in the biomedical applications. And we will also discuss about the different types of coatings which have been done on this substrate material, how it is going to be more effective. Then we will be talking about the coating of implant is one of the strategies used to enhance the biocompatibility and assassin integration without changing the bulk material. So here what happens, the coatings or whatever the nanomaterials that we are going to use it, significantly or considerably they are not going to change any of the dimensions, because whatever the coatings that we are going to make it, nanoparticles that we are going to use it, it is in the microns and nano level. So significantly, they are not going to affect the dimensions of that. Indeed, the biomaterial coatings can be really useful to inhibiting the bacterial colonization and to enhance cells on the surface. This is what Soon et al. In 2016 we have been discussing about that. One of the major one when it comes to the joints and even in the biomedicals, not only in the biomedicals, in generally the aeronautical and aerospace and automobile industries, tribological phenomena like stinction, friction, and wear are being major issues affecting the reliability of contact biomedical devices, in which reliability is one of the major factors to be considered. Then what do you mean by this nano or submicron particles? Nanoparticles, we also call it as a submicron particles, where this nanoparticles is quite small particles which range from 1 to 100 nanometers in size, undetectable by the human eyes, and nanoparticles can exhibit significantly different physical and chemical properties to their larger material counterparts. In the later stages, I will also give you the details about what are the different types of nanoparticles available. It may be ceramic, or it may be oxide, or it may be nitrates, or it may be some composite metal or also nowadays in scale. The material's properties change as their size approaches the atomic level in the scale. So say for example, if you take a copper as a bulk material, and the same copper material, when it take in the micron level, in the micro level particles, or if you take those in particularly copper or any other material in a nano level, the properties changes as they approach to the atomic level, as their size has been getting decreased. This is due to the surface area to volume ratio, which has been increasing, resulting in the material's surface atoms dominating the material performance. Owing to their very small size, nanoparticles have a very large surface area volume ratio when compared to the bulk materials, such as powders, or it may be plates, or it may be sheets. Sheets, for example, if you take graphene, graphene which is available in the play sheets wise, as well as if you take a carbon nanotubes which are available in a cylindrical wise, and even the powders, you have an alumina oxide, zirconia oxide, all those particles or metal powders are also available in the nano size. This feature enables nanoparticles to possess an unexpected optical, physical, and chemical properties, as they are small enough to confine their electrons and produce the quantum effects. This is the one which have been made them to be more effective in all the fields of engineering. That is what I was just talking about. Copper is considered as a soft material with the bulk copper. So when you take the same material in a nano size, it is going to be a different one. Consequently, copper nanoparticles smaller than 50 nm are considered as very hard material with drastically different malleability and ductility performance when compared to the bulk copper. So likewise, as we see it in the copper, even in the gold also, when you take this gold particles in a nano level, the shining doesn't remains to be the same as a bulk material of a gold. Consequently, the properties certainly changes when it goes to the nano level. The change in size can also affect the melting characteristics, the thermal properties, and the tribological properties as well. The gold nanoparticles, which are melt at such lower temperature, 300 degrees centigrade for 2.5 nanometer size, when it is compared to the bulk gold of 1064 degrees centigrade. To be honestly, producing these nanoparticles of the 5 nanometer is not going to be easy. It's a complex procedure where these particles are going to be generated. There are different methods to generate these nanoparticles. There are many industries nowadays. Earlier, we used to take it from USA and UK also. Nowadays, there are a number of industries have been developed to generate these nanoparticles. Moreover, the absorption of solar radiation is such higher in materials composed of nanoparticles than in thin films of continuous sheets of materials. This is one of the most the advanced. Recently, we were just working out on the hybrid lighting system, where in which in the proposal we have worked on this research, where the solar radiation, solar cells, which have been of the limelight nowadays for their one-time investment on those days. So we have the absorption capacity of solar radiations also, wherein which instead of the regular sheets, we have used a nano size. That is what a thin film, which have been continuously used for these applications. Due to the ability to generate the materials in a particular way to play a specific role, the use of nanomaterials spans across a wide variety of industries, from healthcare and cosmetics to environmental preservation of air purifications. That is what, even if you take a nanoparticles, it will be something like, it is an amorphous in nature. If you take 2.5 nm or 20 nanometer size or 40 nanometer size, if you take an APS, average particle size, if you take all those particles, it will be something like a powder, cosmetic powder only, but it will be performing the surface engineering properties. So these have been used even in the healthcare as well as cosmetics. The healthcare field, for example, utilizes nanomaterials in a variety of ways, with one major use being the drug delivery, in particular treating the cancer patients. One example for this also, it is whereby nanoparticles are being developed to assist the transportation of chemotherapy drugs, that is what the same cancer patients, directly to cancerous growth, as well as to deliver drugs to areas of arteries that are being damaged in order to fight the cardiovascular diseases. This is what one of the advancement of this nano size materials. Then what do you mean by this nanostructure or a nanoparticles? Nanostructure is a geometrically entity with a distinct shape having a nanoscale dimensions. Say, for example, a DNA double helix shape that you might have seen it. It is nothing but a nanostructure. When we call it as a nanoparticles, the particles which have been less than 100 uh, 1 micron size, that is all we call it as a nanoparticles actually in general. These the other example what we can take it is a carbon nanotubes, wherein which these carbon particles will have a tube-like structures where the diameter will be of less than 1 micrometers, or it will be in a nanometer size, which are also being developed in order to be used in processes such as the addition of antibodies to the nanotubes and to create bacteria sensors. And even this has been very popular even in the time of corona period, where the surfaces we used to handle it like in a lift, or it may be in the any hospitals or wherever, they used to have a small coatings of antibacterial coatings which will not have any carry forward of these bacteria. Even in the aerospace, the carbon nanotubes can be used in the morphing of aircraft wings. I don't go much into this aerospace applications. The nanotubes are used in the composite form to bend in response to the application of electric voltage also. Further use of nanomaterials in this industry can be identified in the use of antimicrobial nanotechnology in items such as the towels and the mats used by sports people in order to prevent illness caused by the bacteria. This is what I was just talking earlier. Elsewhere, environmental preservation processes make use of these nanomaterials too, in this case, in terms of in the form of nanowires. Applications are being developed to use the nanowires like zinc oxide nanowires in flexible solar cells, as well as to play a role in the treatment of polluted water. Nanomaterials have also been developed for the use in the military applications also. One of that example is being mobile pigment nanoparticles being used to produce a better form of the camouflage injection of the particles into the material of soldiers' uniform. Additionally, the military have developed sensor systems using nanomaterials such as titanium oxide that can detect biological agents. This is the titanium oxide. We also use it in biomaterial coatings also, because its chemical reaction with the body fluids is very minimal compared to the other nanoparticles. Titanium, the base material, is also been used in various implant applications and even in the surgical applications. The use of nano titanium dioxide also extends to use in coatings to form self-cleaning surfaces, such as those of plastic garden chairs, as well as these nano or titanium dioxide coatings. They have also used in one of the BMW car applications also. You can see there are different types of nanoparticles that we are just handling with. Metallic nanoparticles, we have a copper, silver, gold, iron, nickel, the palladium, the platinum, and silicon nanoparticles which are available. And the non-oxide nanoparticles are something borides, maybe a boron carbides or boron oxides, and the carbides are there, boron. Then the nitrates are there, salts are there, and many others non-oxide nanoparticles are also there. In the form of wire, we have a cobalt, silver, titanium oxide, zinc oxide, copper, nickel. And then when it comes to the nanoparticles on non-oxide, we also have aluminum oxide, copper oxide, cerium oxide, zirconium oxide, tungsten oxide. Many are there. Based on the applications, we just choose area of application and the required properties we choose a particular nanoparticles. And of course, the coating method also matters when we are selecting these particles. For example, if you take nanoparticles used in the research for the functional properties, in AL203 we get two phases of nanoparticles. One is an alpha and the gamma. I just have mentioned alpha, which we have extensively used for this wear and corrosion resistant, and it is a heat because of its lower thermal conductivity. It has got excellent heat resistant properties also. And zirconium oxide, which is extensively used in satellites and heat resistant applications, to that lower thermal conductivity and diffusivity properties better than any other of nanoparticles. And let me come back to this alpha Al2O3, which has got an excellent zeta potential property, which made it to use in almost like wear resistant and corrosion resistant applications with the military and protective equipments, and even in the electrical and electronics. Even they are extensively used in MEMS and NEMS applications also. Sorry. Then the titanium oxide used for exhaust gas emissions, even in the alternative, they have been also mixed with, they are blended with this alternative fuels also, in order to reduce the gas emission like NOx and COX used in MMCs, well, due to its higher hardness. Boron carbide, which is meant to be a more harder material, it's been used in steam coatings, boiler steel applications. Then the titanium oxide used in optoelectronic sensors, batteries, and biological activities, used in extreme wear conditions applications for aerospace. It is a p-type semiconductor actually, which is cubic in structure. Then the boron nitride, which has been used in electronic substrates. Then the 8040 is something like aluminum and titanium mixture, which has been mixed in the 60-40 range, and it is being used. And then silver is one of the silver and titanium oxide. These two are the most used biomedical application nano materials because of their antibacterial and which acts as a lubricant, makes it suitable in both medical as well as industrial applications. I'll come to that later on with the literature as well. The zinc oxide, adding a little of nano zinc oxide into the electrolyte of alkaline manganese dioxide battery can restrain zinc electrode from self-discharging. This is what has an application in the field of the batteries. And then the graphene. The beauty of this graphene is also one of the carbon effective materials, which has been can be used in various thicknesses. It can be used as a powder. It can be used even in the form of sheets as well, because of its structure. This carbon and carbon bonding, which is nothing but a covalent bonding, makes it to be 4 wavelengths electrons, and 3 of which are involved in bonding with its closest neighbors to form a honeycomb structure. This structure makes it very tough for any it shows the highest resistance for the deformation, for the impede motions. So these are the few of different particles that has been which has been used. The nano particles used for this, in particularly for this biomedical applications, are like metal oxides, nanoparticles, and these nano structures are used in cancer therapies and targeted drug delivery. They are resistant to corrosion as well as the oxidation. Carbon nanoparticles, these the other one nanoparticles. The carbon nanoparticles, it can be carbon graphenes, or it may be carbon like structures, or it may be any carbon nanomaterials, including the graphene or carbon nanotubes, or the fluorescences, have an excellent mechanical, optical, and thermal properties, which are used in photoacoustic imaging and photothermal therapies. and even in the thermal therapies, photothermal therapies. Iron oxide nanoparticles like Fe. These nanoparticles have been commonly used in biomedical applications due to their chemical stability and non-toxicity and biocompatibility. Gold and silver nanoparticles have got, in particularly silver has got a better uh, applications for biosensing applications. It has been used even in the dental applications also. They just use it. These two particles. Uh, the gold nanoparticles, which are biocompatible, non-corroding, and have optical and electronic properties that depends on their size and the shapes. Lipid nanoparticles, this is what in particularly it has been used for bioavailability, reduced immunogenicity, and better pharmacokinetic profiles. Nanotechnology has a potential to improve the pharmaceutical solutions to medical issues and lead lower costs and more functional properties. Now, let me quickly go with this coatings. What does actually a coatings means? This coating, these coatings extensively, it has been greatly influenced by the flowers, in particularly like lotus. You might have seen it, the water droplets which has been on the petals, or it may be on the flowers, which will not have any contact, which doesn't wets that leaf or the flower petals. This is only because a small coating, a nano size coating, which has been applied on it. So getting the inspiration from this, the coatings have been developed. Nowadays, these coatings have been also applied on the fruits also to prevent the fruits getting perishable. So you may have an apple or any other fruits. They are just applying these coatings. You can check it. You just keep an apple in a boiling water. You can see a thin coating which is between getting this getting out from this surface of an apple. So this is also one biological coating. Now, a coating which has been meant to be a film of metal or a non-metal or a ceramic produced on a surface of metal, or it may be any substrate to enhance the functional properties. It is need not necessarily to be a tribological or a mechanical property, any functional properties. That is what we call it as a coating. The coating might vary from nano size to micro levels also, based on the applications. The first industrial coating was developed by Italian chemist the Luigi Brugnatelli in 1805. The hydrophobic wax crystals on the lotus surface, the wax crystals are approximately 1 nanometer size in diameter, which is highly difficult to be generated in the experimental, like in the laboratories. But this is a natural one, which we call it as an hydrophobic wax coatings. The composite coatings, the composite coating generally means by uh, it is an incorporation of one primary coating material, which we call it as a matrix material, wherein which a nano-sized particles, or it may be a submicron particles, or maybe the other micron particles, which will be blended with this primary coating material or the matrix. That is what we call it as a composite coating. When we use two or more particles, then we just term it as a composite coatings. Zincating is one of the method of applying an intermittent coating. Say, for example, when we go for aluminum-based substrates, aluminum is also been extensively used for its low weight and high strength property. It has been widely used in automobile as well as in the biomedical applications. So when you want to coat it on the aluminum, it is quite difficult to coat it, maybe by electrodeposition method or by any other method, because it is highly it does generally doesn't supports the coating for these particles. So in such kind of things, we just go for an intermediate coating. One of that method is a zincating, wherein which we will have a thin layer of a zinc coat, which acts like an intermittent layer, which acts like a mediator layer between a substrate as well as the primary or a secondary coatings on that. So these are all basically different nanoparticles which have been used for different applications like tribological properties. They have used tungsten carbide, and even for the texture of nickel matrix in order to have an anti-corrosion performance or increased micro hardness. They have used a silicon carbide in order to avoid the agglomeration of nanoparticles, corrosion or wear resistance for high temperature oxidation resistance. Al2O3 and cerium oxide has been used. And agglomeration is one of the drawback of these nanoparticles when we go for any sort of coating. Agglomeration is something, it's a great challenge. As we go for a lower and lower APS of nanoparticles, it is quite difficult for agglomeration. It is something like treating these nanoparticles carefully, only the way that we can avoid the agglomeration. This is the reason why people generally doesn't go beyond 20 or 10 nanometer size. They just agglomerate themselves and the diameter increases and the effective coating doesn't happens. The effects of the next one is even this Al2O3, titanium oxide, and nitrates are also used for this tribological properties, and many other particles have been used. You can see the silicon carbide, uh, the molybdenum disulfide, and carbon nanotubes, and PTFE, titanium oxide, nano diamond, and the chromium metal powders have been widely used for different applications. Now, let me concentrate on this the coatings for biomedical applications, which can be divided into three groups. One is a bioinert, bioactive, and bioresorbable coatings. Basically, these coatings have been a minimum interaction with the surrounding tissues after implantations in the human body, which are being considered as bioinert coatings, which will not be exposed to the atmosphere most of the occasions. So that is what we call it as a bioinert coatings. In most of the occasions, we the titanium material which will be used in this implantations. The typical example of bioinert coatings are metal oxides, nitrites, carbides, and carbonitrates and oxynitrates. The transition metal nitrates like titanium nitrate, zirconium nitrate, and titanium aluminum nitrate, niobium nitrate, carbides like titanium carbide oxides, zirconium oxide, aluminum oxide, and titanium oxide, or oxynitrates like titanium oxide nitrate. Coatings find a wide range of applications in bioceramic coatings due to their remarkable properties such as wear, tear, hardness, and biocompatibility and corrosion resistance. In addition to these materials, the one particular reason for selecting these materials have been studied by many researchers, and I just shall go in the next slide. I'll be talking about the literature what they have been highlighted. These actually even this silver nanoparticles, I have missed it out. These particles have a minimum reaction for the body solutions. So that is the reason why even this titanium material has been made extensively used in the biomedical applications. Now, let me go through it two, three literatures where they have used titanium oxide and the silver coatings, which have been effective in antibacterial during plasma electrolyte oxidations. The substrate is being titanium, aluminum, and niobium biomedical alloy, which has been used in the electrolyte based on calcium and acetate, or maybe a calcium glycosyrophosphate bearing of silver nanoparticles. In this, actually, the Nicola et al., these people, they have used it. They just varied the composition of silver nanoparticles, and they just found that the porous coating, the porosity has to be a very minimum when we are just using for the biomedical applications. They just found that in the initial stages it was around 10 seconds, and by using these silver nanoparticles in the titanium oxide has significantly improved the oxidation stages. Time has been increased, the life has been increased. The other one, we also use the soul gel synthesis. The soul gel is one of the coating technique wherein which they use titanium oxide and compared with that silver and titanium oxide coatings and the different biomedical substrate. of the titanium substrate biomedical applications, and they also studied the bacterial adhesion when adhesion on this titanium substrate with and without the coating. Also they just studied they that effective detachment or the very less bacterial adhesion on the titanium substrate with the silver and titanium oxide coatings. The adhesion of pseudomonas of this biofilm for this orthopedic applications. This is what the Kotalan et al. Was worked on this orthopedical applications with the silver coatings. They found it has been more. They found no cytotoxicity of these coatings on the human cells, which has been noticed by these people. And they have also used the diamond-like carbon and aluminum oxide along with the titanium oxide actually on the titanium substrate. Now you can see everywhere the substrate is going to be a composition of titanium only. Now in the first one we have used titanium and aluminum and niobium, whereas this Huang et al. Used diamond-like carbon coatings on the titanium and aluminum with vanadium substrate material as a composite material. Actually on this composite material they have used diamond-like carbon, which is these carbon nanoparticles have been meant for this hardest which possess highest hardness and the wear resistances, which has been used for this. The fouling is one of the protein absorption, which has been a greater challenge in the biomedical applications actually, including the biosensors and bioanalytical devices and implants. This PDMS, this polydimethyl siloxane, is a popular material with many attractive for device fabrication in the biomedical fields. Suffers a serious fouling problems from the protein absorption due to its hydrophobic natures, which limits the practical use of PDMS based devices such as medical and surgical implants. So basically these have been generally recently these the nanoparticles have been developed by Reinstay Private Limited, which is in Delhi. They have started all this development and production of these antibacterial and nanoparticles actually. Once even this the Malis et al. Has also worked on the same diamond-like carbon, which has provided them a superior material for biomedical applications. Nearly 25% of antibacterial activities was seen after 18 hours, which is a great time of direct contact with the doped DLC films, suggesting that the nanodiamonds are able to preserve their antibacterial properties. Now, once again, the silicon oxide nanoparticles have also been used on this PDMS material in order to avoid these the oxidations. Now, basically, how this the coatings, the nano coatings, is being generated. I just want to switch over here with the brief explanations. Now, basically, based on the area of applications, we have to select the material. Basically, of the titanium grade composite or titanium alloy, will be taking out. Then we will go for an electrodeposition. Is one of the method wherein which we can vary the coating source, the coating substrate, as well as the source of the nanoparticles or microparticles. This is one small example I just have taken. Even not only this electrodeposition, there are other methods are also there, like a thermal barrier coatings, plasma spray coatings, like HVOF, HVAF, laser cladding. There are many methods are there. You can select any of the coating technique. Then we need to prepare. This has been mandatory. If you take for any of the coating techniques, the anti-agglomeration of nanoparticles, as I've already told you, as the size keeps decreasing, it is quite difficult for them to have a good flowability. If you take a plasma spray coating, it has to have a good flowability. So the agglomeration has to be avoided. This has been a great drawback or a challenge whenever we use the nano size particles. Then the preparation of the substrate which is being needed. substrate has to be prepared and it has to be cleaned with acetone, and then it has to be cleaned with the DM water, then it has to be air dried. Those in case of a electrodeposition, in case of a plasma spray coating or a thermal spray coating, we go for a grit blasting, wherein which so that the coatings will have a good adhesive strength with the substrate material. So these are all comes under the category of preparation of substrates with for the thin coatings. Then we will inspect it with the optical microscopy, how this adhesive strength has been carried out, all those things. Then we'll have this scanning electron microscopy, the distribution of whether either is there any agglomeration of particles or this homogeneous distribution are there, or the composition of the coating also we will check it, so that it should not have any reactive compounds which have been formed. Say for example, if you take electrodeposition method, we will have an electrolyte solution. So that those chemicals or those should not have an influence on the coating. If you take the plasma spray coating method, where the coating materials will be melted up to their melting point and it will be coated on the surface, where this melting point, after reaching those melting point, the oxides formation should not influence. So those cares will be enough taken by this XRD or EDAX, where we will study the compounds or the composition that has been formed on the coatings. Then we will go for, if it is a mechanical properties, we will go for a tensile strength, micro hardness, or a compression strength, whatever it may be. We will check it out. There are different ASTM standards are there. We will go with that, and then we will the mandatory things are the coating thickness. We need to check it. Adhesive strength, coating thickness can be controlled in the coating method itself. Then we will have a adhesive strength. Adhesive strength, or we also call it as a bonding strength. It refers to the strength of the coating which has been got bonded with the substrate material, that is being, which we call it as the adhesive strength. It is, there are different techniques are also there which has been used to check the adhesive strength of the coating. One of the example what we refer is scratch test technique is one of the technique wherein which a diamond stylus indenter is been made to move on to this coating surface, wherein which the ramp load and the constant load will be applied. The ability to resist the scratch will gives us the adhesive strength. Then we will go for the wear. The wear rate we will be calculating with a pin on disc or a ball on disc, or it may be an erosive wear, or it may be a 2-body abrasive wear, or a 3-body abrasive wear, or it may be dry sliding wear. Based on the application, based on the nature of wear that we are going to check it out, the instruments has been used. For example, if you want to check the dry sliding wear, the pin on disc will be used. At the same time, the normal wear, the conditions, it is also been analyzed with a high temperature wear conditions, or it may be a sub-zero temperature conditions, or it may be the temperature field analysis will also be added. I have forgotten once again. We are corrosion resistance also, which tells us the oxide formations and how it resists for the corrosions. Then we will have a discussions, and then the inferences will be drawn. This is how the coatings will be drawn. Only after passing through all these phases, the coating or the substrate material which will be used in the biomedical applications or in any of the practical applications. Now this is the one which tells you, this is the below figure, the B shows an actual the prototype model, wherein which this green color solution which tells you the electrolyte solution that has been prepared. Say for example, if you're coating a nickel, then the nickel salts will be used. If you're coating a copper, the copper salts is being used to prepare this solution. For example, if you're coating nickel, the nickel NiSO4 and nickel sulfur and nickel chloride and boric acid, along with the DM water with proper ratio, it has been mixed, and the nickel which will be used as an anode, and the cathode is which is going to be the substrate material. And then we will also have a steering, as I've already told you, this magnetic steering which will be extensively used in order to avoid the agglomeration of the nanoparticles. These nanoparticles are used as a secondary phase particles which will be dispersed in the electrolyte bath. higher rate of dispersion of these nanoparticles, higher rate of the deposition will also take place. So this is one. If you want to heat, if you want to control the temperature, there will be a heater, and there will be a control temperature controller knob will also be there, and electric current can also be used. Okay, these are all one conventional type of electrodeposition technique, and there are other techniques are also there. We'll have a different one. Now you can see this nanopide powder, how it has been taken with the scaling of 100 micrometers and the resolution in the 2000x. Different magnifications and resolution scalings it has been shown. This is completely a nano powder. These are all the different nanoparticles. Basically, this is Al2O3 and titanium oxide particles I have taken it actually. So if you can see these nanoparticles, how they have been distributed. As in the initial stages itself, I was trying to explain you, nanoparticles doesn't mean that if you have 10 grams of nanoparticles, all the nanoparticles will not be of the same size. It is highly impossible. So what we always term it as an APS, average particle size, that can also be done. We can also measure it in a particle analyzer and even in the XRD as well. You can see this, the different nanoparticle size and how these particles have been. The distribution of these nanoparticles and which have been tells that the flowability property or their reliability, how they can be effectively coated. So there should not be any, if you check out the second figure, there is a one nanoparticle for which there will be different small nanoparticles which have been got in bonding with these particles. So it has to be differently unique, and it should be different. Distributed homogeneously, something like this. This is before coating I'm just talking about. This is the blended powder or the nanoparticles which have been taken on the SEM, scanning electron microscopic images. This is before coating. We will check it out. Once we find satisfactory and we found that these nanoparticles has got a good flowability and less agglomeration, then we are going to blend it with primary particles, or we will put it in a hopper, or it may be in the electrolyte solution for the coatings. Industries which caters this Al2O3. Al2O3 is one of the applications wherein which, if you consider of an APS of 40 nanometer size, these have been extensively used in medical industries, military and protective equipments. These are the properties which possess this aluminum oxide, where the density is going to be 3.95 grams per centimeter cube, and melting point at this, it is 2072. It is quite high, and then we will also have a hardness of 15 to 19 GPa. This is how we will study, and the thermal conductivity is also been found to be 20 to 30 watts per meter degree Kelvin. No, this is the one X-ray diffraction things. The nano, I just have considered nano alpha Al2O3 particles. As you can see it here, at different angles, the theta angles, we have different nanoparticle size. Say we have also given the structures like a 220, I don't want to go much deeper into this. Let me concentrate on this. If you can check this intensity and the nanoparticle size, if you check it at 20 theta degree angles, we have a nanoparticle size of APS. Everywhere we are just talking about this, which are having 30.79 nanometer size. And if you check the highest peak between around the 40 angles, we have a 35.18, which shows that the maximum amount of particles which falls with this highest peakness of the intensity, where 35.18 and 37.81 nm size, and even if you can check it out in further peaks also, we have 37.81. It's a very minimum of even we have like 25 also, 25.60 with the structure of 012. This is how this shows it, particle size. Now the two same images which have been given here is the particle size measurements in the composite coating. this particle distribution, that is what we have shown it in for the powders, whereas this the figure B, which tells us the size of the particles after the coating, where it has been found to be 85.58 nanometer size and 53.0 nanometer size and 57. So the consequently this nanometer size, the particle size is going to be increased. It may be because of the absorption property or the cohesive properties that has been possessed by these nanoparticles along with the primary phase particles made them to increase in size. So we will also study those things. No, the thickness also matters actually when we are just dealing with that. The coating in particularly in the biomedical applications or in very precise applications, the coating thickness plays very vital role. We will always minimize it with respect to the feeder, or it may be with respect to the time. We just limit it. Here is the one research work I'm just showing in front of you. This coating thickness, which has been measured as per the ASTM E37619 standard, with the plus or minus 100% true thickness, which has been considered as an ideal conditions, which has been measured in the dry conditions. As you can see, this coating thickness with respect to the surface roughness, as I was just telling, the substrate has to be prepared and it has to be treated. With respect to the surface roughness, we can see the coating thickness variations. This is how it just varies. This is the influence of coating parameters on the coating thickness. As an illustration, I just have taken the electro deposition as one of the coating technique which has been considered. If you take the other coating parameters also, you'll have a different coating parameters. Coating technique, you'll have different coating parameters which can be optimized. Now here is the one instance I would like to explain this figure B, where in which if you take in the x-axis we have a particle loading, the nanoparticle loading which has been taken it like a 0 grams and 1.5 grams per liter, 3 grams per liter and 4.5 grams per liter, and even we have a current that is in amperes per decimeter square. We will have it. Now the coating thickness has found to be the maximum at the 0 particle loading with maximum current density. This is maybe the reason because the absence of the secondary phase particles and the maximum corrosion, I mean to say that reduction of the nickel, or it may be the anode material with a higher current density, made them to increase the coating thickness, whereas it has been found to be minimum at the 4.5 grams per liter at the same current density. This shows that drastic decrease as the particle loading has been increased. What happens? The primary coating material which is in the micro size and the secondary coating material which is in the nanoparticle size, because of this size difference and the density differences and the characteristics differences, they will always have the variation, the kinetic, the turbulent kinetic energy which the particles which are tending towards the coating or the target or a substrate material quite varies when there is a composite blended powders that has made with the minimum coatings. This is how we just analyze and we just optimize the coating parameters. Now you can see this where the substrate material is this, whereas the interface material which is being formed, which is of the minimum thickness of 12.65 micrometer, and the major coating which is being found to be 85.72. This coating material may comprise of nickel and Al2O3 or titanium oxide and any composition we can have it. This interface layer which is being found to be between the substrate and the coating is meant to occur in any material due to a core substrate hard material as a bulk material and the coating material. There always exists an interface material which decides the adhesive strength of the coating. Any weaker sections makes it the coating weaker. This is what you can see this, the best adhesive strength in the case of figure A, where in which the adhesive strength there are no cracks. Only at the top of that we have some crack which has been highlighted in the figure B. wherein which the coating variations has been occurred. So that is the similar one. We can also see it in the C and the D. The higher concentration, higher nanoparticle concentration, what happens? We will have the agglomeration or the higher concentration of nanoparticles on the surface itself. This is quite happens because when you have a higher nanoparticles, these nanoparticles, for example, if you take an Al2O3, they are neutrally charged. They are neutrally charged. If you take an electrode deposition coating technique, they are neutrally charged. The nickel or any copper, the primary material, which are attracted towards the cathode, they'll take these nanoparticles along with them and make them to adhere with the substrate materials. That makes these nanoparticles with a higher concentration to concentrate on one area. This is what this is like the figure A shows a nickel coating, and this is a nickel with the Al2O3 particles with the increased one. So my area of interest is in the figure number E, wherein which you can see the agglomeration of these particles, which I was just talking about. This agglomeration of particles makes always the weaker bonding or weaker coating surfaces. This is what I just wanted to highlight over here. Now, if you check it in the figure number C, the adhesive strength with the substrate material is found to be well strong. So after the coating, we always go for the mapping where to analyze whether the so and so coating material has been in a good adhesion with that material. So here is the one mapping. These are all the oxides which have been highlighted in blue color, and this aluminum which is found to be in red and orange colors, and this we have a nickel of the coating. This has also been found with the XRD results, which has been found over here. This is one adhesive strength that we have discussed. We need to discuss actually. I just if the higher importance actually. This any adhesive strength will decide the functional property, whether it may be antibacterial or anti oxide or anti wear or anti corrosion resistance. Any functional properties or any properties which we expected from this surface engineering. Primarily, it depends on the coating thickness as well as the adhesive strength. These two plays a vital role in predicting the functional properties. Basically, these scratch testers are adhesive strength, which has been tested as per this ASTM G17103 method, wherein which there will be a diamond stylus with a 200 micrometer radius with 120-degree cone, which will be pressed on this with the ramp load, or it may be a linearly increasing load, which has been applied between 20 to 200 Newton. In our present recent research work, we have applied 20 Newtons to 200 Newtons with increasing load with a scratch speed of 0.5 mm per second, which tells us how this adhesive strength is being found. If you can check it, so once again, the adhesive strength is being found maximum for zero particle loading. And even in the figure number B also, we found it at the temperature 50 degrees as well as at the same current density. Now you can check this. In all the figures, whatever this silver color, white, shining surface, what we see it, this is extensively a substrate material. Now we have coated on this substrate material, which is in a silver color. It is an aluminum 6061. We have taken it. This silver color, what we see it is completely a substrate material. Whatever this gray color patches that are being there, which tells us the coating. So after applying this adhesive strength indentations, this has been progressive. Now you can see this in the figure number D. There is a straight line, which is the base material has been completely exposed. Whereas if you check this figure number A, B, and C, wherein which there will be a stagnating patches have been seen, that tells us how it is restricting the scratch because of the higher adhesive strength. Higher the adhesive strength, which always restrict the dislocation of the movement of these uh, the load that has been externally applied. So that makes these material to resist the scratch with which indicates that it has a good adhesive strength with the substrate material. Now even this the spallation coating is also being checked with the EDS analysis, which tells us it is the nothing but a nickel and Al2O3 coating. That means the coating has been present on this. So our coating has provided enough adhesive strength with 60 to 64 newtons. That is what it has been. The figure number D, which tells us it is a system generated actually. It is been generated in the scratch testing machine itself. We have just kept as it is. The stroke length of 9 mm or 10 mm, we have just taken it. You can see the traction newtons, highest of 63 or 64 newtons it has possessed for this 4.5 grams per liter of Al2O3 composite, which gives us a good adhesive strength. These are all the different new. I don't want to go in detail. This is the micro harness. The harness also plays a vital role. No, even if you check it out in the 3D figures of graphs which has been plotted in the A and B, the highest micro hardness has been achieved for a temperature of the coating with 50 degrees centigrade and current density of 2 ampere per decimeter square. Quite similarly, whereas here in the figure number B, it tells us between 3 to 1.5, it has shown the best micro hardness testing. Influence of nanoparticles when it comes to this micro hardness. So the 4.5 grams per liter has shown the highest micro hardness with a 350 Vickers hardness number. This is a tensile strength. These are all the mechanical tests that we just carry out in order to check all the feasibility and reliability of these nanoparticle coatings. Then we have a specific wear rate. Specific wear rate is one of the important factor which we just check it out. Wear rate is something like deteriorating of the surfaces. Actually, wear is nothing but deterioration of the surfaces for an external applied load. It can be erosive wear or three-body abrasive wear, or it can be the dry sliding wear also. Say, for example, how I can tell you. The best example is the brake system in automobile systems, where two metal surfaces will come in contact. Because of this mechanical contact, the surface, the weaker surface will always get eroded out, or it has been removed. So in order to increase this life of these surfaces, we always go for a coating. So this ASTM G99 standard, we will prepare a pin and we will coat it and we will subjecting it to the pin on disc test rig, wherein which the counter material will be EN32 hardened steel with 64 HRC. So in this present graph, we just checked out the surface roughness against the specific wear rate. The influence of coating parameters on the wear rate is also been calculated, and not of these things. And then the conventional steady optimization has also been carried out. Okay, this is what we just, in order to optimize the coating parameters, we just generated one of the a new method of Taguchi method, where we just extended this Taguchi method advanced technique. I don't want to go in detail with this. This is not of. So I just modified conventional method. I'll tell you, and before I have I have 5 more minutes. So basically, if you take any substrate material like an as casted aluminum 6061, we will machine it and we prepare it for the coatings. Then we will go for a zincating 1 and zincating 2, and electrodeposition of this Taguchi L27, we will do it L27 method with 3 coating parameters. We will take it. We just check the wear test at constant load, speed, and the sliding distance, and then we will select on optimized coating parameters like a D, T dash or C dash or P dash, like a temperature or it may be current or a particle loading. Then we will go back the electrode deposition of this conventional method. Then we will go back to this wear test, and then we will conduct it, and we will modify that. In that is what we just have shown it in the table experimental design, wherein which we will go for. So this has reduced significantly the number of experiments that we regularly do it with the conventional method. This is what our new approach. This article is also been published in the tribology. This is all different, the same extension of those things. I don't want to go. This is once again, this is the figure number A tells us the quotient of friction. How with respect to the sliding distance, we just have taken it. The one pink color graph which tells us without any nanoparticles insertion, which has shown a highest quotient of friction, whereas with the nanoparticles, it has shown the less quotient of friction. This is what even there is a demand from the biomedical industries also, with less quotient of friction, with high wear resistance. That is what they are just expecting it. So we are just looking for duplex coatings with the nanoparticles for these applications. Okay, I'll skip all the things. High temperature applications are also being done. In the high temperature, we can expect a scuffing. I don't think high temperature applications will be more feasible and for this biomedical applications. It's kind of excuse. I move all these things which is related to the high temperature applications. Okay, flash temperature is also been the same thing. This is how. This is the pin on disk test rig that has been selected, which is available in University BDT College of Engineering. Okay, erosive wear is also one of the method of type of wear. This is the porosity results that we achieved for this coatings. One is of 1.6 and the one is the 1.8. Significantly, we could able to reduce the porosity, which strengthens the coating. These are all the coating techniques. Okay. So madam, I end up my presentation over here on time, which is 8:45. If there
Okay,
is any queries.
Okay, sir.
Okay. If there is any queries, you can.
Hello. Hello.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Hello.
Sir,
Good evening.
Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Sir, when you are using the nickel coating, what is that device is used for pulsar generation, sir? Where nickel coating one experiment you have shown, right? Nickel coating.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, actually, nickel, we have used nickel, we have used nicroly, we have used NICR, different coatings are there. So one, for example, for the general aluminum 6061 material, we have used electrode deposition technique. The same nicroly, co-nicroly coatings along with the nanoparticles we have used for the brake pad material, we have used a plasma spray coating technique. So based on the applications, we just select it, sir, actually.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, if it is pulsar coating is more uniform rather than continuous coating, sir, as for research.
Sir, actually, pulse coating is much feasible, sir, actually. You'll have a flexibility. You'll have a flexibility in pulse plating coating, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Wait.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Professor.
Yes, madam. Please tell me.
I have one fundamental question. In the beginning of your slide, you said the copper is soft, but as the size goes down to nano, it becomes very hard.
Yes, madam.
What makes
Yes, madam.
the copper when it goes to nano size is so hard?
Okay.
What is the driving force behind that?
I didn't get you, madam. Can you please come again? I just heard it as a bulk material of a copper. It is a soft considerably. The same copper, when we use it nano level, the nanoparticles in the coating possess the hardness. Hello, madam.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Please tell me.
Am I audible?
Yes, madam. You are audible. Now you are talking. Please tell me.
Sorry, I could not able to listen your answer. Can you repeat it if you don't mind?
Yes, madam. Actually, what happens, not only the copper, you take any material. So what happens in general, when you are in a bulk material, they will have their own lattice structure. When you take the same material from the bulk material into the preparation of a nano size, micron size, that as you go lower to the atomic level, they behave it as a single particle, which has made, in particularly copper has a hard. If you take a gold, it will be a shiningless material.
Yeah.
As in a lattice structure, or as it is a bulk material, they will possess that particular properties.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, madam.
Oh, hello, sir. I think they're done with the questions.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for giving information about the nanoparticles, its coatings, and about the fabrication methods and the tribological properties of nano coatings. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Okay. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Shall I keep, madam?
Yes,
Shall I
sir.
log out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.